morning. It's Thursday the 17th of February. It's 11 o'clock and it's quite nippy. We're here back in Roselawn Cemetery. Massive cemetery out the Ballygowan Road. And I'm here with a very interesting guy. And you might recognise him from previous videos. This is Mr. Belfast Cemetery himself. This is tour guide extraordinaire, author extraordinaire.
There must be two people here.
Mr. Peter McCabe. And what Peter doesn't know about Belfast cemeteries and East Belfast in particular isn't worth knowing. And I get all my hints and all sorts of ideas from Peter. Peter, you've got a new book out. Tell us about it.
I happen to have the new book here, Tom.
You do.
So this is Roselawn 2021. This is my fourth book. And so what we're going to do this morning is take a wander around and call it 20 Graves. So it's called Roselawn 2021. So there are 20 trails, each with 21 different graves in it. So we're going to try to call, weather permitting, at one grave that features in each of the 20 trails.
So this wee book will show us round maybe 400 plus graves in Roselawn.
You must be the master.
Absolutely.
Right.
Of notable people.
Yes, of notable people, but also maybe ordinary people.
Ordinary people too.
With extraordinary stories.
Extraordinary
so, for example, my grand and grandad feature, that's their wedding photograph on the front cover.
Yes.
And then sadly that's their headstone here at Roselawn on the back cover.
Right.
So, yes, people whose stories haven't been told, and also people who might ring a bell with a few.
Right, lovely. And where can people get hold of this book?
Well, at the moment, the only place you can get it is at the East Side Visitor Centre, so down at C.S. Lewis Square. I haven't actually officially launched it yet, but you can get it down there.
Right.
Or from my mobile merchandising unit, otherwise known as my car.
And what's the damage on it?
£10.
And a good value for £10.
Well, I might be biased, but yes, it is. And it's as with previous books, it's a cure for insomnia as well. So, what more do you want all for a tenner? And
just to mention that you have books out previously on Belfast City Cemetery, Dundonald Cemetery, and
the third one then was called 2020, and it was 20 different graves in each of 20 different local cemeteries. So, Carnmoney, 3 different graveyards in Bangor, Cumber, Derry, etc.
So this is your fourth book, and you're not going to stop here, Peter, are you? Come on, give us the inside information.
Yeah, well, the next one is to be called 100 Houses of East Belfast. So it's not, shocker, it's not limited just to cemeteries. So hope to have that out sometime this year.
Brilliant. You're prolific. I can't keep a good man down. Okay, here we are in Belfast, Roselawn Cemetery. Opened up 1954. So all the graves here are new graves, so to speak, compared to other cemeteries in the city. And what are you going to show us first here, Peter?
This is the first one here. This is Victor Arbuckle. So someone has perhaps worked in this grave recently, because it's this new white stone is new. So it's only within the last fortnight. This has been here. So this is Victor Arbuckle. He was the first RUC officer to be murdered during the Troubles. As you can see on his headstone, it says, "The dear husband, father, died 11th October 1969 from gunshot wounds received while serving with the RUC. He was the first of more than 300 RUC officers to be killed during the Troubles. He was one of 3 people shot dead in the Shankill area of Belfast on the 11th of October 1969. He was shot by the UVF, whilst 2 Protestant civilians, George Hickey and Herbert Haw, were gunned down by the army." Mr. Arbuckle's wife Dorothy spoke about her memories 50 years after her husband's murder. She says, "We were both very, very happy. We were so proud. He was so proud of his son. I will never forget him. I think about him every day. How things would have been so different if he had been alive today." Dorothy never remarried, went on to form a support group for other RUC wives who also lost their husbands. So that's from Trail 10, and that features RUC members who died as a result of the Troubles. So sadly there was no shortage of them, so I could have filled a couple of chapters sadly with them. So
and the remarkable thing about this officer was that he was killed by people that would espouse the Protestant loyalist cause.
Yeah, so-called loyalists, yeah.
Yeah, my goodness.
And Arbuckle actually that night was standing with the first Catholic officer to die.
Oh my goodness!
During the Troubles, Dermot Hurley. So he died. He was shot by the IRA 2 years later.
My goodness!
He's buried over in Carnmoney.
Oh dear!
So he was standing beside Arbuckle that night.
Oh dear, dear, dear.
This is the second one then, Tom. This is from Trail 8, which deals with the World Wars. So this is Edgar Lien, and this plaque here on a striking wooden cross says, born Belfast 20th January 1886, died Belfast 17th November 1971. World War II, he was aged 19, he was a rifleman with the Royal Irish Rifles, and he fought at Somme and Ypres from 11th to 11th, ironically 1915. To the 3rd of 3rd, 1919. And in World War II, he was 43 when he signed up, and he was a gunner with the Royal Artillery, North Africa, Tobruk, Alamein, and he served from 1939 to 1945. So the logos of both the Royal Irish Rifles and the Royal Artillery feature in the plaque. For his service in Tobruk, which is in Libya, and El Alamein, which is in Egypt, while serving with the Royal Artillery 315 AA Battery Scottish Horse, he was awarded the Africa Star Defence War Medal. He was described as his grandson Joe as a most remarkable man, very quiet and reserved. So that's say there's not too many Great War references in this graveyard. There are a few commemorations. Obviously there's nobody buried here who died as a result of the Great War or the Second World War, but there are a number of references on the headstones such as this. This is Edgar Lien, and that's Trail 8 World Wars.
So he's almost unique in this cemetery.
Well,
because he served in both wars.
Yes, he seems to be quite a remarkable man. Yeah, he is. It would be almost unique, and it's quite a distinctive headstone of sorts as well. And as you can see, there was family members who I've been in touch with actually, but they've come up at Christmas time to put this wreath on the cross.
Right.
This is from Trail 19, which is called Titled, so it's basically people with OBEs and a few sirs, etc. But this is Tommy Patton. He worked at Harlan Wolff for 29 years and was elected to the Belfast City Council for the UUP at the 1973 local election. He retired in 1982 but continued to sit in the council, serving as Lord Mayor of Belfast that year. He was appointed High Sheriff of Belfast for 1982-1993. He was described by the journalist Jim McDowell as an example of a cornerstone of what the Unionist working class vote was. Sinn Féin councillor Martin Willier noted Patton's malapropisms, giving as an example, the police are no detergent against the IRA. He also said that there was a number of allegations made against him. So when he was during his time as mayor, so he wasn't happy with these allegations, so he urged alligators to come down to the City Hall and have a discussion with him directly. He also famously walked into a council meeting late, and the conversation was about getting some gondoliers at the Floral Hall, so at the zoo in other words. So he walked in and he says, well, why don't I get a pair of gondoliers and they can breed? So that was another wee story. And he also famously said about the City Hall could do with a fresh coat of Durex. So no. So there is, of course, a park in East Belfast named in his honour, and he lived in Park Avenue for many years. And that was in the days when they used to put the big lights, lampposts outside the properties. So I have a photograph of the lampposts outside Tommy Patton's house in Park Avenue. But quite a character. They don't make him like Tommy Patton anymore. So this is from Trail 12 of the book. And sadly, there's so many Troubles victims here in Roselawn that I've had to split the Troubles victims into two. And this gentleman, this boy here, William Billy Irvine, he features in Trail 12, which is those killed as a result of bomb attacks during the Troubles. So he died as a result of Bloody Friday. Bloody Friday was when the IRA detonated at least 20 bombs in the space of 80 minutes, most within a half-hour period in Belfast. The majority of the bombs were car bombs and targeted infrastructure, especially the transport network. 9 people were killed while 130 were injured. And Billy here was living at Dundonald Street when he died, aged only 15. And also very near here is William Kenneth Crothers, and he was only 15 when he died as a result of Bloody Friday. So and he's commemorated here as just here on the headstone. So this is from Trail 12 of the book. And sadly, there's so many Troubles victims here in Roselawn that I've had to split the Troubles victims into two. And this gentleman, this boy here, William Billy Irvine, he features in Trail 12, which is those killed as a result of bomb attacks during the Troubles. So he died as a result of Bloody Friday. Bloody Friday was when the IRA detonated at least 20 bombs in the space of 80 minutes, most within a half-hour period in Belfast. The majority of the bombs were car bombs and targeted infrastructure, especially the transport network. 9 people were killed while 130 were injured. And Billy here was living at Dundonald Street when he died, aged only 15. And also very near here is William Kenneth Crothers, and he was only 15 when he died as a result of Bloody Friday. So and he's commemorated here as just here on the headstone. This is from Trail 4, and this Trail 4 is called Fabulous Females. And this is Lillian Spence. She was born on New Year's Eve in 1898, and she was living at 64 Beersbridge Road in Belfast when she died on 28th of January 2008, aged 109, as you can see on the headstone. So she lived next door to Spence's Fish and Chip Shop, and that was the family business started by Mrs. Lillian Spence's husband Eddie in 1921. When asked doing an interview with the Church of Ireland Gazette, she was asked what her secret was of long life, and she replied, hard work and clean living. I've heard her doing other interviews which weren't to the Church of Ireland Gazette, where she attributed her long life to other things other than hard work and clean living. But she was a member of Willowfield Parish Church and was visited regularly by the rector at the time, the Reverend, now the Bishop David McClay, as well as my mum when she worked for the church. So a remarkable woman, and Spence's Fish and Chip Shop is still going to this day, still going strong on the Beersbridge Road. This is from Trail 2, which is the World Tour, and this headstone commemorates Dr. John Stuart Bell. So he's buried, as you can see from the headstone, in Geneva. So he's not actually buried here, but his parents are. And John Bell is regarded as one of the 20th century's greatest physicists, and was widely believed to have been in line for a Nobel Prize in physics when he died from a stroke. Bell's theorem demonstrated Einstein's views in quantum mechanics were incorrect. So he's the man that proved Einstein wrong. He attended Belfast Technical High School, now Belfast Metropolitan College, and that's why the tech now is called John Bell House in this man's memory, and also the tech down at the Titanic Quarter, the back of that is called Bell's Theorem Present, because you can't name a street after a person until they've been dead a certain time, but they named it after his theorem. And there's a little blue plaque for him, where his parents lived at 240 Tates Avenue. So it's not a Ulster History Circle plaque, but it's a little other type of plaque. So I've driven past that many times, but I've only discovered it quite recently. So John Bell was quite a remarkable individual. His father, John Bell Sr., died 2nd March 1993, aged 86, and his mother, Annie, died on 25th August 2002, aged 96. So that's the Bells. So this is these are the Maloneys, and they feature in Trail 13, which is those who died as a result of an accident. So you can see here they're remembered as a devoted couple, kind and gentle. They did everything together. They died hand in hand. The Maloneys were killed in the Kegworth air disaster, which occurred when a British Midland Boeing 737 crashed onto a motorway embankment whilst attempting to make an emergency landing at East Midlands Airport. Also killed in the same incident then, in the neighbouring grave, are the Campbells. And you can see that they both were serving police officers, RUC police officers, and they were John Thomas Campbell, aged 31, and then Karen Jacqueline Campbell, aged 26, killed on 8th January 1989 in the British Midlands air disaster at Kegworth. So there was 47 individuals died as a result of that accident, but all 8 crew members survived. So these guys feature in Trail 11, which are Troubles victims who were shot, and again, sadly, there's no shortage of victims. But both these gentlemen, William McManus and Christy Docherty, died as a result of the Sean Graham massacre on the 5th January 1992. In other words, 30 years ago recently. So Docherty here, he was 52 and he lived at 6 Bars Court Place in Belfast when he died. And it says in the headstone, God grant us serenity, courage and wisdom. And then in this grave then is William McManus, known as Big Willie. I'm sorry, I'm so not like him. So age 54 when he died. Also murdered in that attack were Jack Duffin, 66, and James Kennedy, who was only 15, and Peter McGee, who was only 18. And all 5 victims are remembered on a plaque at Sean Graham Bookmakers. So quite a controversial, quite rightly, quite a controversial. And the 2 alleged perpetrators of the attack, or certainly organisers of the attack, are also buried in Roselawn Cemetery. I'll not name names. But, so it's interesting from my perspective. I didn't expect to see these 2 guys buried up here in Roselawn, which is generally considered, Protestant burying place. This is Mervyn Conway, and he features in Trail 6, which is the sports trail. He was born and raised in East Belfast, and educated at Mount Pottinger School, and he worked at Harland and Wolff as a boilermaker. In his spare time, he trained to tone his muscular frame for bodybuilding competitions. In 1952, he lifted 3 titles: Mr. Northern Ireland, Mr. Great Britain Health and Strength, and the prestigious Mr. Universe. The story was told of how his trademark was to lift his Norton motorbike above his head. He married his wife Geraldine in 1957 and was survived by her and her 3 children and 6 grandchildren when he died on the 14th of May 1988, aged 70, whilst living at 3 Knock Way in Belfast. This is, in this fairly standard grave, is a former Mr. Universe from East Belfast.
Wow. Brilliant stories, boy. Brilliant stories.
So this is the Duff grave, and it features in Trail 1, which is called Quirky. So you'll see here there's a number of logos, the Merchant Navy and GCHQ, commemorating Hugh Mallinson Duff, and he died on the 18th of August 1992 whilst living at Knockfield Park in Belfast. But also commemorated on the headstone is his beloved wife, Isabella Nee Curry, 26th November 1929 to 3rd August 2017. Mother, grandmother and great-grandmother. And then it says, This is the quietest she has ever been, with the base of the headstone then sitting, loved by all. So Isabella, by all accounts, was quite a character.
Brilliant. Love it.
So this is from Trail 5, which is called Marvellous Men. So there's a Fabulous Females chapter, and there's also Marvellous Men. This is Bob Bishop. So folks know that George Best is buried in here, in this cemetery in Roselawn. In fact, that would be the most visited grave in the cemetery. But a lot of people don't know that Bob Bishop, the man accredited with discovering George Best, is also buried here. So he had, according to George Best's approved biography, immortal. Bob Bishop had 3 hobbies: budgies, border collie dogs, and above all, football. He was a riveter in Harlan Wolff, and in his free time he ran the Boylan Youth Club at Lomond Avenue. In 1950, Man United appointed him as a scout, paying him £2 a week plus expenses. Also importantly, installing a telephone in his house so he could communicate with England. In 35 years, Bishop brought more than 100 local players to Old Trafford, including George Best, Jimmy Nicholl, David McCreary, Sammy McElroy and Norman Whiteside. He was aged 90 when he died on the 13th of June 1990, having been predeceased by his sister Kathleen, who died on 27th November 1987, and they both lived at 9 Bloomdale Street off Bloomfield Avenue.
And the reality is, Peter, that you know, quite a number of the guys that you mentioned there probably wouldn't have made it without the push from this man.
Absolutely, yes.
Wow.
But also, there's also a gentleman called Hugh Bud McFarlane, and I think he's buried in Dundonald Cemetery, and he ran the he ran the Craiga Boys Club, which was George Best's team. So he is supposed to have recommended to Bob Bishop to have a look at this young fella George Best.
Right.
And of course, Bob Bishop is best known for the famous telegram that he sent to Matt Busby at Old Trafford, saying, "I think I found you a genius."
Right. Good show.
So this is the Gibson grave, and they feature in trail number 3, which details children. So you can see from the headstone there, 7-year-old Julie Gibson and her 9-year-old sister Angela died along with her mother Lorraine, who was 29, in the Maysfield Leisure Centre fire on the 14th of January 1984. 3 other people also died in the fire. The blaze broke out in a storeroom, and victims were sadly overcome by toxic fumes released by smouldering gym mats. So the Gibsons lived at Holland Drive in East Belfast, and are remembered in this simple heart-shaped black headstone as "At Home with the Lord."
Oh dear. So sad.
This is the next one then, Tom. He features Stanley Butterwood, features in Trail 9, which looks at military headstones. So you can see there's precious memories of my dearest Stan, a loving husband, our devoted dad and grandad, died 10th January 1984, aged 43 years. He was living at Woodbreda Park in Castlereagh when he died, and the headstone contains the logos of the Royal Catering Corps, with whom Stan served from 1966 to 78, and the UDR, where he served from 1978 to 1983. A separate plaque to the right of the grave commemorates Stanley Butterwood, Master Chef Soldier. This is the final resting place of Roy McGee. He features in Trail 18, which looks at ministers. So he's commemorated as a loving husband, father and grandfather. Died 31st January 2009, aged 79. He was living in the Old Dundonald Road in Dundonald at the time of his death. He was ordained in 1958 as minister in St. Seaman's Church in the Docks. In 1975 he moved to Dundonald, and then he became actively involved with the Cross Community Alliance of Clergymen and Community Workers. From 1990 McGee began protracted private discussions with the combined Loyalist military command, and working in harness with Bishop Robin Eames, the Church of Ireland primate, he set up indirect talks with the British and Irish governments, a process which evolved into an unprecedented undercover meetings between the Irish Prime Minister Albert Reynolds and Loyalist leaders, and culminated in the 1984 cessation of violence. McGee was predeceased by his son Royston, known as Roy, who died of cancer on 5th May 2005, aged only 46, and his wife Maureen, who died 21st March 2007, aged 72. So I well remember Roy McGee from growing up in Dundonald. So this is Yi Wan Mo, and she features in Trail 16, which is the Chinese community. So there's quite a remarkable number of folks from a Chinese background who are buried here. So you can see there's a little bit of Chinese or Cantonese at the top, and then it commemorates Yi Wan Mo, beloved wife of Wu Qi and dear mother of Jonathan. And then a lovely verse: if I could have a lifetime wish, a dream that would come true, I'd pray to God with all my heart for yesterday and you. 1,000 words can't bring you back, I know because I've tried, and neither will a million tears, I know because I've cried. You left behind my broken heart and happy memories too. I never wanted memories, I only wanted you. And there's a lovely photograph of Mo on her headstone. This is the Campbell grave, and this features in Trail 17, which is groups, organisations and workplaces, and it commemorates Henry, known as Harry, a loving husband, father, grandfather and great-grandfather, and he died 2006. It includes both the Harlan Wolf logo and an image of the Samson and Goliath cranes, suggesting that Campbell was previously an island man, in other words working at the shipyard. And there's a photograph of him with his wife Emily. She died, she's commemorated as a beloved husband, grandmother and great-grandmother. She died or was called home, as it says in the headstone, 11th October 2019. And the base of the headstone says, we will always love you, always missed, every day in every way. So this is the Hutchison grave, and it features a Trail 20, which is called And Finally. So it's people's tributes to loved ones. So this one's quite unusual. It commemorates Graham Hutchison. He was born in 1970, died 2018, and he's described as so special. And then the word special is spelt out then on the vertically on to the left of the headstone, and then it says Scriptures his delight, and then P is precious husband and best friend, E is enjoyable company, C is courageous in illness, I is inspirational in life, A is altogether amazing man, L is loved, so much love. And then the base of the headstone, rejoicing in Christ's presence today and in the house of the Lord forever. So this is Graham Hutchison. He was only 48 when he passed away.
Right.
This is the McMahon grave, and this features in Trail 7, which features football clubs. So Bertie McMahon here, and you'll see at the base of the headstone are the logos for Distillery to the left, and then Shankle United to the right. He's best remembered as one of the great entertainers and goal scorers of the Irish League, most notably with Distillery. Signed for the Whites 3 times, always gravitating back to the side he considered his spiritual home. McMahon once said, what I loved about Distillery was the supporters. It didn't matter why you had a bad game, they were always there next week. That was their attitude, they were great people. Also played for and managed the mighty Cards FC, my club, and was former assistant manager and committee member of Shankle United in the Premier Division of the Amateur League. So to say that's why the Shankle United logo at the bottom of the grave. There's also a little figure there of a footballer, a number of figures, but the one with the footballer is in the Distillery top. So Bertie McMahon, a legend in local football, sadly died young, aged only 60. And I once remember seeing Bertie McMahon score for ours against Distillery directly from a corner.
Wow, that's some doing.
So this is the final resting place of James Cook, and this features in Trail 14 in the book, which is called Celtic Cousins. So it features folks with a connection to Ireland, particularly down south, but also across the Shuck in Scotland. So this commemorates James, the Laird of Lochaber, and Tom will now sing the Proclaimer's song, which mentions Lochaber no more. And so you'll see as well, there's the so the title Laird, Lord or Lady of Glencoe and Lochaber are trademarked Highland titles available for purchase online. So the base of the headstone also features the words Wandering Star, along with this image of a horse and a plough. So quite a quirky headstone, to say the least, and say it features in the Celtic Cousins trail.
And this is the last grave that we're going to highlight in this walk round Roselawn cemetery. And it's me giving the commentary this time because I managed to delete Peter's final video, and I'm up doing it again, and I've got his book to help me. This is the grave of Dragana Mahaffy, 1972 2018. You'll notice that this lady was not of this parish, and that's the trail that it's included in. Because Dragana was from Serbia originally, and the Serbian words there actually translate as "rest in peace, my love." And Peter was talking to Dragana's husband, Gordon, near her headstone, and he informed Peter that his wife was an investigative journalist and author in Serbia, and she specialised in study of the Serbian mafia. And then she moved away from Serbia, from Belgrade to Belfast. Tragically, Dragana developed cancer shortly after moving to Belfast, dying unexpectedly of a blood clot on Christmas Day 2018. And she was only 46. And here she lies in Roselawn Cemetery, so far from home. And this is Peter's book once again, and I'd commend this to you. Roselawn 2021.